Section 7. Fair Housing Law and Practice. Today's Fair Housing Rules and Regulations, 2026 Standard. Introduction. Bringing it all together into daily practice. In the last section, we explored the impact of the Fair Housing Act, how it reshaped the real estate industry, influenced lending, advertising, and even community development. Now we take the next step. Understanding impact is important, but in 2026, your success depends on how you apply the law in your daily practice. This section is where everything comes together: history, discrimination, legal hotline scenarios, and industry impact, all translated into what you actually do as a real estate professional every single day. Fair housing is not just a law sitting in the background. It is the framework that governs every interaction, every listing, every showing, and every conversation you have with clients. The purpose of fair housing law, the big picture. The official policy of the United States is clear: to provide fair housing to all individuals within constitutional limits. That means equal access to housing is not just encouraged, it is the foundation of federal law. The Fair Housing Act, originally part of the Civil Rights Act of 1968, was designed to eliminate discrimination in housing based on race, color, religion, and national origin. Over time, it expanded to include sex, disability, and familial status. This ties directly back to everything we've covered so far. From the early civil rights laws to modern enforcement, the goal has remained the same: equal opportunity in housing for everyone. What the law actually prohibits in practice. Let's bring this into your day-to-day role. The Fair Housing Act prohibits a wide range of actions that you might encounter in real transactions. It is illegal to refuse to sell or rent a property, refuse to negotiate, make a property unavailable, offer different terms or conditions, provide different services or facilities, advertise with discriminatory language, misrepresent availability, engage in blockbusting practices. Now think back to Section 3 and Section 4. Steering, buyer letters, misrepresentation of availability. These are not just risky behaviors, they are direct violations of the law. Defining dwelling, why it matters. One of the most important concepts in fair housing law is the definition of a dwelling. A dwelling includes any residential building, any portion of a building used as a residence, even vacant land intended for residential construction. This means fair housing laws apply far more broadly than many agents realize. 2026. Insight. If it relates to housing, even indirectly, it likely falls under fair housing laws. Disability protections, a major focus area. Let's revisit one of the most important areas: disability. Under the law, a disability, or handicap, includes physical or mental impairments, a record of impairment, being perceived as having an impairment. This connects directly to our legal hotline scenarios. Landlords must allow reasonable modifications at tenant expense, provide reasonable accommodations in policies, ensure accessibility in newer multifamily construction. But there is one important exception. If a tenant poses a direct threat to health or safety, housing may be denied real-world application. 2026. This is where agents must be careful, distinguishing between legitimate safety concerns, discriminatory assumptions, familial status, protecting families. Familial status is another key area that directly affects your listings and transactions. This includes families with children under 18, pregnant women, individuals seeking custody of children. Think back to advertising risks. Statements like, "no kids," "perfect for singles," are violations of fair housing law. This is one of the most common mistakes agents still make today. Real estate-related transactions, expanding liability. Fair housing laws go beyond buying and selling homes. They also apply to mortgage lending, appraisals, brokering services, financial assistance related to housing. This means discrimination can occur at multiple points in a transaction, not just at the contract stage. 2026 Risk Insight. You can do everything right as an agent and still be involved in a transaction where another party violates the law. That's why awareness and documentation are critical. Exemptions, where agents get confused. Now let's address one of the most misunderstood areas: exemptions. Certain situations may be exempt under federal law, including owner-occupied properties with 4 or fewer units, some single-family home sales, religious organizations, housing for older persons. But here's the key takeaway: exemptions are limited, and they do not eliminate all fair housing obligations. For example, even if a property is exempt from certain rules, you still cannot use discriminatory advertising. Arizona law, an added layer of responsibility. In Arizona, fair housing protections mirror federal law but include additional enforcement mechanisms. Under Arizona law, a real estate license can be suspended, revoked, denied. If a licensee violates fair housing laws, this ties directly back to your role as a licensed professional. Fair housing is not just about compliance, it is about protecting your career. Related laws, the bigger legal framework. Fair housing does not exist alone, it works alongside Equal Credit Opportunity Act, Lending Discrimination, Americans with Disabilities Act, Accessibility, Rehabilitation Act, federal programs. Together, these laws create a comprehensive system designed to eliminate discrimination across all aspects of housing, bringing it all together, fair housing as a daily practice. At this point in the course, you can see the full picture. Section 1 gave you the foundation. Section 2 showed how laws evolved. Section 3 revealed how discrimination occurs. Section 4 taught you how to respond. Section 6 explained the impact. Now Section 7 answers the most important question: how do you live this out in your business every day? In 2026, fair housing compliance means treating every client equally, avoiding assumptions, using neutral, compliant language, recognizing risk before it becomes a violation, documenting your actions. This is not just about following rules, it's about building a business based on professionalism, integrity, and trust. Online discussion. Question 1. Why does fair housing law apply to more than just buying and selling homes? Answer: because it covers all housing-related activities, including lending, advertising, and property management. Question 2. What is one common mistake agents make regarding familial status? Answer: using advertising language that suggests a preference against families with children. Question 3. How can exemptions create risk for agents? Answer: because agents may assume exemptions remove all obligations, when in reality, many fair housing rules still apply.